And we're back with more Fall of Magic. I believe Andrew had a scene for the boat. The
Hmm.
Sea Wing.
We're just having a little coin fight here.
Yeah.
Someone.
Coin fight. Sorry, it's me.
Let's see. Well, obviously I gotta go to the crow's nest. It's just too good.
How are you even gonna get there?
Well, so Fawn is just like sitting like with her legs hanging over the side of the boat, like it's some, kid's wagon or something. But her birds are like all over the thing because they've chased off all the seagulls. First of all, there was this like vicious turf war for the space on the sails and whatnot. But yeah, it's like all of these like black birds on it now instead of seagulls. Um, and a couple of them are up, in the crow's nest itself, hanging out. Um, and Fawn is just like tossing these breadcrumbs into the ocean, and all these weird fish are coming up to like eat the breadcrumbs. Uh, and and yeah, like the camera kind of like pans, up the ship to the crow's nest with these two ravens hanging out on it. And we can see uh, in the distance, it's like so there's open ocean, but it seems to have like hills in the water. So there's like you'll like look in the distance, you'll see this huge rising like mountain of water with like waves on it. Um, and like clouds that dip suddenly down into the water. Um, and if you look too long into the distance, you start seeing like more than one sun in the sky. Like there's one up in the, like it's noon or whatever, but then there's another one that's setting or like just peeking over the horizon. Um, and it's all like very confusing and disorienting. But up ahead of the ship, there are birds flying, and behind them you can see like streaks of cloud, and they seem to be like guiding the wind and like changing the ship's course by adjusting the wind and stuff. So yeah, we get led on this winding, circuitous route through the sightless sea.
Nice.
Okay.
It's Sean.
I know.
Sean's doing the like maneuvers.
The maneuver, yes. The helm, how we find our way. I think Caspian has taken to boat life pretty well, and is kind of standing up at the bow of the ship and just kind of soaking it in and looking out at the horizon. The I think that Harp is there as well.
Alrighty.
And I think at some point, like, he just goes over and he sits by Harp and just kind of like nods his head to the wind, as if to try and, I don't know, like figure out what the golem thinks of it all or something.
So as he nods and the both of them kind of just sit there, you start hearing a high pitch whistle.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off really quiet, but it gets louder and louder as it comes within your hearing ability.
Mm-hmm.
but it seems that no one else is able to hear it.
And I think his ears twitch at that.
The whistling then stops,
Hmm.
and he starts patting his knees again, and the sounds of drums can be heard.
Yeah, and then Caspian, I think, turns his attention away from the golem and looks toward the magus, who's kind of leaning against the rail, looking pretty bad. Not seasick. She just, she's been dying and withering, and he seems to be in thought when he looks at her, and then looks back to Harp and nods over to her.
And so as he does that, Harp kind of stops playing
Hmm.
and kind of turns around, looks at the magus,
Hmm.
and you can start hearing the sounds of a harp being played as it wiggles its cobblestone fingers.
Hmm.
Then he starts stepping side to side, and now you can hear the sound of a large drum, not the bongos that you hear from his knees.
Right.
And then he starts playing a melody as he whistles. And he seems to be playing two parts of a canon at the same time. And as he does this, the magus looks over and gives a small but strained smile.
And I think Caspian looks at her as she, turns to Harp, and then his attention is taken away when like River comes up onto the deck, and she has like the flower in her hair, and like he just looks at her as she's, comes into view, and I think that's where he ends the scene, or where I end the scene. Whatever.
He does whatever you tell him.
Yes. It's just some fictional fox. Whatever.
Bastard. Alright. So it's me. I'm gonna go to the cabin. Sounds of the ship. River hates this boat. River hates boats. She didn't know it until now, but she knows it now. She feels the sickest she has ever felt in her entire life on this stupid boat and just wants it to be over. All the creaking and the groaning and the sounds that make you feel like the whole thing is going to come apart any moment and you'd be dumped into the ocean. Fuck this boat. That's the scene.
Fuck this boat.
All right. So I'll start my scene in the crow's nest. So
It's awfully crowded up there.
yeah, there's a lot of birds up here. And the guy who's supposed to be doing his job and the tiny golem.
Caw, caw.
Yeah, and it's just like covered in bird shit, right?
So way up here, you can see, well, the sea, and the small golem walks around and around and around and around and around in circles, playing happy sounds. But it seems that the sailor who's stuck in the crow's nest right now, he looks tired.
Oh.
And he's just grabbing the side of his the side of his head, like he's trying to suppress blood vessels from popping out of the side of his head. And the crows are cawing and cawing and cawing. And the robot is, or the golem, the golem is whistling.
Secrets revealed.
Yeah. The golem is whistling and claps his hand, and suddenly there's the sound of cymbals being played. And the sailor just looks at Fawn and goes, "Can you take him back now? Please."
And yeah, she just kind of like absentmindedly reaches up to the crow's nest and plucks Harp out of it. So, why don't you go find River? Huh? Cheer her up. She doesn't like the boat. And, like, ushers you into the cabin.
She
And
doesn't.
there's like
doesn't
happy
like that.
squealing sounds as he patters away. And you hear dunk, 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 dunk. And then
It's just like fell down the stairs.
and then just another whistle sound, like, oh, what are they called? You blow into them and they're like a pole flute,
Like a slide whistle?
a slide whistle. So you hear like, and like, dun 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 dun, and then you hear like a bunch of whistling in the undercarriage of the ship.
Oh no. There's just like this vague like
And that will end the scene.
It's all you,
Very
Andrew.
Are we moving the Magus or are you doing something? All right.
Oh shit.
All right. So this
I'm gonna
is
draw a card.
Draw
Or do I
Actually-
draw multiple cards?
yeah. You draw 2 cards. I'm just gonna. It says to put them on the bottom. That just means we'll never see it again. So I'm dealing 2 cards to you. Pick one. And,
Okay, go for it. Deal me up.
There we go. Do you have them?
I have cards now.
Okay, good.
Let me inspect my cards.
Tap 3 islands.
Oh, apparently I can steal the cards.
Do not steal.
Cards, yo.
Yes. No thieving of the cards.
Can you play
Damn.
them? Did we get like badass islands or like
Or bad ass islands.
that sounds like it's gonna be heavy.
Yeah, what's up?
The mouth of the sea?
Could we? No.
Oh, we end up in the sea of salt? What? Oh shit!
This one suits my previous description best of what we saw on the horizon.
There we go.
And so, yeah, there's this like huge valley of water, like these mountains of ocean water, and there's a swift current and like a dark storm that pulls the boat or the ship through. And the crew are like trying to steer away, but the storm just like implacably drives the ship into this like crushing pair of like mountains of water. And the Magus like slowly hobbles to the front of the ship in the storm, and everyone's too busy like doing other stuff to take notice of her.
Mhm.
And in the somehow, despite the like howling winds, the candles on her staff are like still burning, and they get like whipped around by the wind, but they don't get blown out. And as she approaches the prow, in this like dark storm, suddenly like everything becomes kind of quiet. Like the wind has been howling for so long, people just stop noticing it, maybe. But there's something uncanny about it, and we see the candles on her staff start to glow very, very brightly. And her voice like carries like this low rumble across the water, chanting these like magical words. And both the mountains like start to like boil and grow, and then suddenly crash into the sea. And there's this like torrent of water going like in every direction. But then it starts to like form a whirlpool and like drift down. And instead of being, forced into this crushing pair of mountains, the ship is now swirling around like a rubber duck in a tub that's draining. And it's just like drifting around the edges of this massive hole.
Oh shit.
And so we see the Magus like kneeling against her staff, as it like glows super bright, like this intense bonfire heat coming off of it. And like ropes at the prow start to like catch fire. But the ship is kind of holding steady on the edge of this precipice into who knows?
Into the oh god, we're gonna die.
Into the dark abyss.
I fucking hate this boat.
And Sean, it's your turn.
Yeah. Let me see. I think at this point, as she's leaning against her staff and it's glowing, we see Caspian like run over to her, and like as he does, the boat tips and he ends up sliding, and then we see him like go near her, and he pushes up against her, and she loses her grip on the staff. And I think standing as she is, it sort of just tumbles onto the deck, and like the ship tips again, and it goes over the side.
Oh shit.
And the candles on it extinguish as they go into the sea, and her staff drifts away. And at this point, Caspian like scrambles back off to like another part of the boat. Like he grabs onto some rigging and like digs his claws into it to hold steady.
Yeah, if I may.
Yes.
So Fawn just kind of like scoops you up, seeing you like struggle and scramble against the the boat tipping and rolling. And she just like holds you like close to her head,
Mm-hmm.
with the palm of her hand, and just says, I told you, you can't save her. Doomed to die. All of it.
And
Let's go below deck. And she
I think Caspian just like starts sobbing, like as a fox does.
little fox tears.
Aww. Aww, little fox tears. Is that it? Does it mean?
Yeah, that's my scene. Yeah, so
Closer to the maw. A shared secret. So you two, this happens almost immediately after your scene, because it's you come below deck, and I was lying in my hammock before all this happened, like trying not to vomit. And now shit is really happening, and I'm on my feet, and I look over at the two of you as you come sort of below deck, Fawn doing the whole like
Yeah, I
squish.
can't actually go below, but I just like send Caspian down there.
Yeah.
So that he doesn't frickin' die.
Caspian, how fucked are we?
he just shakes his head.
Oh, Shit.
And like he rushes over and just like, I guess, leans against you. um
Yeah, I mean,
It'll be okay.
River completely out of her element, like this boat is just like she can't do anything here, really.
And yeah, Fawn from the entrance to the cabin is just like, no, it won't be okay. We're going to be drawn into the abyss. It's inevitable.
And
And I shout at Fawn, clearly having lost my temper at this point. Like everything is just like fucked up right now. And I shout up at Fawn, "How did you know I was cursed?" You know?
and then at that point, Caspian looks at River and says, "She knows it about all of us."
What?
And he says, I've been trying to stop this for years and years. And every time I can never save them.
You've done this before?
Things like it. Not this. It's like I told you back at the chapel. I know what it is to regret. I guess they're shouting this because it's
Yeah.
like things are bad. It's less of a subtle scene than we're making it.
I mean, there could be some quiet.
Moments of quiet.
I mean, there's like this quiet between them, right?
Yeah.
And she sort of like pauses as if she was gonna say something herself, but like it's not important anymore. And she says, "It doesn't matter if we try and stop it. We're going into the mouth of the sea, into the depths of the ocean. Who cares anymore?" And I sort of, and she pulls back the like sleeve to show the mark, and it's like this key on her arm. The man said, "When it gets to my heart, we'll see what lies inside." I don't think we're gonna get there, so I guess curse over.
And then he says, "Some things never end."
I guess that's the scene. It's gotta be the scene.
So,
No, this scene ends apparently.
so Ocean's Breath, what you miss here. So, as everyone is kind of like yelling at each other and pointing at things on their arm and kneeling against each other and kind of just making sounds at each other, Harp manages to slide underneath Fawn's legs and comes tumbling down the stairs again. And when he hits the bottom, he kind of stops, and there's a very audible word that comes out of his mouth. Just ouch, mixed with a bit of sputtering from a wind instrument, and then you hear as he just kind of sits there. And that'll end the scene for me.
Well, Clearly, it's a two-way street, this mouth of the sea.
I guess.
So the ship spends a long time just like circling this thing, this like huge whirlpool. There's kind of this like agonizing slowness to, you know, how long it's taking for it to actually like plunge into it. And the crew of the ship are just like frantically trying to like sail out of it, and they're all like climbing the rigging and doing all this, you know, desperate maneuvering. And you know, there's this like huge cloud of like steamy ocean water coming up out of this, as there would be from like a waterfall or something. And up out of the mist, there are these like pale birds that are like circling, and they seem to be riding at like an updraft. And at first it's just like a few of them, but then it's this, you know, they start kind of like swarming almost, and there's this big cloud of them like circling above. And a couple of them land on board the ship. And they have like these cataracted blind eyes, and their feathers are this kind of like, they look like discarded insect shells or snake skins, where they're like kind of transparent. And the birds make these like gasping, like voiceless noises rather than actually like crowing.
Ooh.
And they kind of like congregate, and the crows are like huddled on one end of the ship avoiding them, and then there are this bunch of these like weird albino birds. And Fawn like raps on the door and like puts her head down by it, and so you can see like two of her eyes through the opening, and she's like, "River, I want to speak with you."
With me? All right. And I sort of stumble away from, you know, the assembled group towards the door.
Yeah, and she like gets out of the way and kind of like points down at the front of the ship. "Those ones over there. They insisted. I told them you don't like the ship, but who can argue with birds?
They
Temperamental."
want to speak to me?
Said they had a bargain
And River
offer.
walks out onto the deck of the ship in like she's like dazed, you know? She's like a zombie. Like she thinks she's dead. Like that she's going to be dead very soon. So it doesn't matter if she takes this risk to go and talk to these strange birds that have emerged from the mouth of hell, you know?
Yeah, just a flock of birds from the Hellmouth. And so
I think as you go, I think Caspian like bites at your ankle, like not actually your flesh, but like your pants leg or whatever, to try and like hold you back.
No. I just kind of like pull away from you, like they want to talk to me. Let's see what they have to say. And I walk over to speak to these birds.
yeah, and Fawn like glares at Caspian and is just like, "Not everyone wants to hang on the brink of things forever, Caspian. Some people want to take the plunge." And then she like follows.
Glares
River.
at you.
Yes, they said they had an offer for you. They're very businesslike, these ones. No sense of humor.
What?
And you hear this like weird like rustling sound as they all start like, you know, cawing at you, but it's this like, it's like how dogs that have had their, you know, vocal cords snipped sound. It's that weird like kind of sound. But they're all doing it, so it actually has like a certain amount of volume to it.
Yeah.
And they're all like cawing at you, and then they all like stop in unison when you're within like a meter or two.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just stare, like I'm looking at this like congregation of weird albino birds that like want to make a deal but don't speak to me, like they make a weird sound. It's all just it's surreal, the boat is like tilted and I imagine like a
Yeah, it's
45
like
degree
listing
angle.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Magus like stumbles over here as well, and Fawn kind of is like, yes, yes, come along. And then one of the birds like hops down in front of you, and like does this weird kind of like mock bow, where it like dips and spreads its wings out. And how would these things speak? What would it be like? Yeah, and I think it like plucks one of its own feathers out, and with this like bloody tip of a feather, it like writes in this really like ornate cursive on the deck of the ship, and it starts writing out this contract. And the long and the short of it is that they want to exchange. They'll like take you and any people that you name into the down below, and in exchange you have to give them the ship and all others who you leave aboard it. But they'll guarantee your safety and the safety of any people you name.
You can
And
you
Fawn
can,
like is like reading it over your shoulder, and she's like, yes, very reasonable, a fair exchange.
you can guarantee the safety of the people I name.
Yeah, and the bird like does the bow again.
What if I name every living person on this ship?
And Fawn like taps this little bit of like fine print in the corner, says you can't do that right here.
Right.
They're very particular, these ones. And the bird is like offering you this bloody feather to like sign with. There's like an X with a line.
I don't want to die, and I don't want them to die. And she takes this like pale feather, and signs her name to this blood contract on the deck of the ship.
If you want to cross the bridge, my sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like a little section where you can like write some other people's names down.
And of course I write the names of everybody present here.
Except Caspian.
Yeah, screw that guy.
Caspian Harp and Fawn, all to safety, and the Magus. And as soon as I'm finished signing, I am violently ill. Like, just name, other names. Like...
Get like horribly seasick.
Yeah.
Cool. And like some of these weird pale birds are like pecking at your vomit on the deck.
Gross.
And the others are like, taking flight. And yeah, Fawn's just like, yes. I think it was for the best. They're there. And like with one finger is like patting you on the back where you pick up your guts.
What a scene.
And scene.
What a scene.
Oof. All right, I think I'm just gonna move the Magus, and then we should probably wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Into the mouth of the sea.
Where do we move to?
The Sea of Salt.
This is so exciting, guys.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, where does that land us in relation to like where we need to go? Wow.
So-
Back to
Somewhere.
the beginning.
No, not really.
No, you can
It's over here.
There's multiple routes.
yeah, Sea of Salt is down in
It's
the bottom
down.
right. What grows in the Sea of Salt?
Yeah, what grows in the Sea of Salt? So I think the birds at that point like several of them just grab up everybody. Like it happens very quickly, and the birds grab up the people named, so like us, and then there's just screams as the remaining birds descend upon the other people on the boat, and we are carted off down this deep hole into the sea itself, and we go down for a long time, and then the birds leave us on like this large, it looks like some strange sort of steamboat engine, or like an ironclad engine or something of the sort, and there's no water down here. It's all just salt everywhere, and it's covering everything, and there's so much, like there's large skulls and strange objects down here, giant gears and wrecked ships with tattered sails, and so they fly off, their contract complete, and the Magus collapses onto her hands and knees, just like the salt digs into her skin, and she looks at River, and there's just this anger in her eyes, and she says, "What have you done?" And I think that's the scene. Like,
Okay.
I think what grows is like her resentment.
The Magus's resentment grows. That's what grows.
All right.
Yeah, we'll call that for
Yeah.
tonight.
When we're done with play, make some space for casual conversation and reflection on the story we've created together. Here's some it's like a moment you enjoyed, appreciation of the player. I mean, just kind of general stuff. Yeah, that was fun. Everyone have a good time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Great.
it was neat how some of the things were coming together. Like it's a little tough trying to figure out where you're going and playing off everybody else without
But I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I would say that all of us had like good, interesting stuff going on. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, the threads started weaving into something.
And that's the thing, right? Like it all comes together in the end where
Mhm.
like you make the sweeping declarations about what's actually happening and like how this actually fits together and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Like the beginning is always a little confused and like because people don't know each other on this journey, and you're learning
Yeah.
things about them.
What was interesting to me, at least in our particular thing, was that like how little the Magus actually has done. And I mean that's a result of all of us just kind of choosing to do our own thing with what we've got going on. But it's interesting that she's just sort of along for the ride.
I
And-
don't even feel like she's along for the ride. Like I feel like we're along for the ride, but she's doing other things.
She's doing stuff that like
Like-
we're not really privy to, yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Oh yeah, I guess that's
she's
fair.
like the Gandalf in our story. She has the plan, but no one knows what it is.
Yeah, none of us are privy to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's spending time with the Gilded One, we're not around her while that's happening,
So we're just
She's-
left with all our
She's-
secrets.
She's spending time with the Barley Lord.
Yeah, it's like she always does important stuff, and
Mm.
then we're just like hanging around.
We're just kind of her entourage, yeah. If you could call us that. A fox, a tiny golem,
Yes.
a regular old human girl, and a
giant.
witch lady with
Giant
many
demon
birds.
witch.
I love it. I love our party.
Just chill, Sean. Okay, I'm not a demon.
Just chill, Sean.
I am not one of those three things.
I'm only
Yeah.
a giant and a witch. Okay?
I really enjoyed the the very start, trying to like pull threads together. When Andrew went, "You're cursed," I was
Yeah.
like, all right then, I'm cursed. Cool. You know, I just like added that fact to the character.
I was speaking metaphorically, but that's if you just want to be literally cursed, right? That's cool too.
Well, I mean, you know, that's.
I was just like, oh yeah, you're haunted by your past. Yeah, that's
I mean, I am haunted by my
Gross.
past as well.
Yeah. Also, I hadn't really thought about it, but there was a moment, Andrew, when you were when you brought up specifically that Fawn didn't pay attention to Caspian being there, and I was like, oh, we need to do something with that for sure. And I just thought that was really neat.
yeah. I was trying to just like hint at little details and offer them up
Mm-hmm.
so that y'all could follow through on them if you were interested. Like that's kind of my
Yeah.
how I was trying to approach this. Is just being like, here's an idea.
I
here's
feel like River is the like straight man of the group, you know, like she's the one that like doesn't really have a lot weird going on, but like has all these things happening around her.
She's the protagonist.
Well, also she's human and can talk.
Yeah.
Which is helpful.
variously across the board.
Which is helpful.
Missing components.
Certainly.
She is the linchpin around which everyone revolves.
Well, it reminds me of when we played, Andrew, and like Blue Jay's Crab Singer was like this normal person amidst like a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
I mean, you can go like full Miyazaki with it and just have everyone be some weird thing and whatever. But it's nice to have a more regular character that everything's grounded around.
Yeah, and I feel like that sets the tone for the rest of the world too, right? Like in terms of if there's a human character, then there are humans. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there don't necessarily need to be. It could be like a fairy tale world of, like the Barley Lord could be an animated barley stalk.
Yeah.
The
Like,
Magus could be a
barley.
giant turtle, you know.
Yeah. Like you can go as.
That's the thing, right? Like you can go as far from the prompt, well, not far from the prompts, but you can stretch the idea of this single word prompt, like single sentence prompt, as far as it'll go, you know.
Mhm.
And all the space in between, it's all yours, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
like, I think the prompts are really, really well put together too. Like,
Yeah, because they're vague, but in like a good, catchy way.
and they actually push you in certain directions, right?
Mhm.
Like, we have been, the story has gone the direction it has in part because of the prompts. Like they become more loaded, they become more, like emotionally charged and stuff as you go across the board.
Yeah.
And they're like nice and exploratory early on. So they are, although they're vague, they're still like
Yeah, you know you're getting to the like shit of it when a promise you won't keep comes up.
yeah, like they get a bit more ominous. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
obviously the ones at the very end are
Yeah.
super
Yes.
crazy.
We'll get to
Yeah.
those.
The stuff at the end, like why do you serve the Magus? Like the direct questions of like why do they need you? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're kind of
Well,
all the stuff when
the-
you get
at the
onto
beginning.
Far Shore is a callback to
Yeah.
the stuff in
Yeah.
the first areas.
But it's like really transformative at that point because
you've thought about the whole thing as you've gone through and you've like decided who your character is and like why they're there and what they're doing. And by that point you're like, oh my god, I have an answer. Rather than
Yes.
like we're
Yeah,
just
that's
like
question.
some people walking around with the Magus.
I really liked your use of the leaf symbol in Estalia.
Mhm.
Oh,
And I like that change from fugitive to heir. I thought that was quite fun.
thank you.
Yeah.
We should explore that
Also-
in the next game.
Love the musical robot thing.
Oh.
Yes.
Like I haven't found a lot of good ways to like tie in, but fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yeah, you took it on
actually
yourself
have
to
lots
do
of
like
cool opportunities coming up.
yeah. You took it on yourself to do like this really quite tricky like role-playing situation. And it worked out super well. I love the little golem. He's
I'm
cool.
glad that you guys do.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he's cool. I really like Fawn. Anything Fawn's involved in is like, why is this so sketchy? Like, why is she such a sketch queen?
It's like, do you want some tea? What? Why do I
Why?
want tea?
Why would I want
See, the thing that I'm really excited for, because this is all improv. It's all on the fly. We have no idea what's going on in each other's minds.
Mhm.
I want to know what happens at the end now.
Well, you
Like,
know,
this is
we will
like
find
this
out.
You know
is
what?
straight
That-
up a book that I want to be reading right now. Because I
yeah.
want to be like, I know my section. I know what I want to do. But what's
Where's it all going?
what's Fawn going to do? Why can I never remember your name?
River and Caspian.
Caspian. There we go. Caspian is like, what is Caspian's deal?
Caspian's
Like,
a
you
fox.
say these little things. You
Yeah,
say
they
these
just
little
like worm
things,
in there.
and I'm just like, wait, what? What do you mean by that? I'm
Yeah,
not going to say
I mean,
anything.
again, it's part of that, like trying to just drop threads of stuff, like Andrew said, to like, and for myself too. Like, I don't necessarily. I think at the very beginning, like when we were at the chapel, I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting moment," but I was like, "I don't know that I have an answer for what I brought up." But then
Yeah.
you have more time to think
Building
about
those
it. So.
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm generally a person who jumps on the train of like, yes, I'm gonna play the fox and do what Sean is doing, or I'm gonna play, you know, the raven and do something weird with that. You know, so I was like, the fugitive. I don't know what I'm doing at the beginning. Like,
Yeah, I mean, part of me when I saw the fox, I was like, oh, there's a few interesting ways you could do that. Like, you know, you could have like a human guy who's just, or you know, a human individual who's just really good at woodsy or
that's
clever.
the thing, right? It's a single word that, like, whatever. I mean, you know, a knight of Stormguard could be like a hill giant. You know,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
possible.
They don't. There's no tying down
You know,
what Stormguard is.
Yeah,
so-
there's no tying down of what Stormguard is, other than that it's a hall somewhere, castle.
yeah.
You
And
know?
yeah, the giant could just be a human who is very big.
Yeah.
Yep.
For being big. You could be a little John.
I will say, if you are in the chat and you haven't watched the Roll20 Fall of Magic that both Andrew and Elf have been on, you should do that.
well.
But I like how you played, like, specifically, you were playing the same, like, giant character in both, but they're very, very, very different.
Yeah, it
characters,
was the
so-
giant prompt, but it was completely separate. Like
Yeah.
the two were incredibly different. I couldn't pick the Raven and in all good conscience because I still want to know what happened to her. You
Well,
know what I mean? Like,
I've played this game like 2 other times before, but
Oh.
it's been in a 4-hour thing and we just never quite finish it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
So
we're gonna finish this next week.
we're gonna
Yeah.
actually finish this one, which I'm really, really excited for.
Same.
Yeah. Like I want to do these tail end bits because like the first time I played, we got as far as the Hanging City. The second time I played, we got as far as Estalia. And
Yeah.
that was it. And it's just like all of the juicy stuff. is-
Oh,
Yeah,
right
you
there.
get right to the cusp of all this delicious you know.
I also really enjoyed pulling those cards and having one of them just be them.
It's like, well, we're going underground anyway.
Yeah. Actually, I think you've extended our game as well
I mean,
by
that was-
doing that.
Part of my decision was like, well, if we're gonna do another session, we need
That was a good call. So.
Yeah,
so.
which is kind of nice. This is a great game. I recommend Fall of Magic heartily if you want to just sit down with some friends and play make believe without having
Especially
to worry
have
too much.
the actual physical thing.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
pretty.
The physical thing's a bit of a doozy to get. I got it as a Christmas present like 2 years ago. So I haven't had a chance to play because I've never been able to get a group together. And I remember like when I saw the Roll20 group play it, I was like, no, I wish I could play.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's a great game, especially for like a bunch of people who don't want to be necessarily too tied up with like a rule system.
Mhm.
Because it really is just like, think about what you want in your story. That's your story now. Other than the fact that magic is failing, the Magus is involved. Those are like the only two lock-ins. You know, like
And then all the like
That's
good
it.
conversation skill stuff of like, listen to the other players.
yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Respectful,
You know, like
contribute.
that's the thing. It's it's a collaborative storytelling. It's everybody's the DM and nobody's the DM. You know, like it's great. I love this kind of thing.
Yeah, it was nice to not have Sean just be a huge bossy jerk.
Yeah,
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 Oh.
Sean.
Wow.
And that's how I made Sean cry again.
Ofo's asking in chat if you have it to show in the camera there.
Yeah, sure, I do.
Yeah, it's like an actual scroll.
Yeah, it's an actual physical scroll, and
Wow.
And you
roll it
unroll it as you go.
Yeah.
And like so you can't see like what's coming and
and
then
it
you unroll
goes.
Yeah,
It's
it's really long.
fairly long.
Cool.
And then on the other side,
Is the underground.
yeah, you have the underground.
Ah, that's cool.
And then the tokens are these little actual like metal coins, right?
Let's see if I can get.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
so-
see,
Yeah.
there's the candle.
I'm
It's
so
weird.
mad because they actually did a Kickstarter that I didn't realize happened until it was over, and it was for like a Fox coin and also a case to like hold the cards and stuff that was made out of like recycled maps.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I missed that one, but yeah, so it's really cool. I forget how I found out about it personally. It just came by my Twitter feed randomly like 2 years ago, and I was like, huh. And I checked it out. I was like, I'll put that on my Christmas list for people who might be interested. And it came my way, so I was very, very happy.
I sort of like I look forward to finishing the game because I feel like there's a lot of like stuff that ties into that resolution and like that ending
Yeah.
that you all come up with. I wonder replayability wise like how much you could play it, like you know.
Well, a few things on that. I think obviously you kind of will get out what you put in to a certain point.
That's true,
But
yeah.
I think also playing with different groups is probably the
Yeah.
answer there, because
I also feel like it really depends how far you lean into like what you've done before, or if you're willing to like throw that away, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, like what media touchstones you want to use, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Like I think personally, like I was thinking, oh, the Rangers are kind of a cool group, and if Andrew had played a Ranger, like initially may have been intended, that we may have gone very differently. And then we just got to a point where it's like, okay, well, maybe the Rangers are bad people.
The Rangers are bad people. I guess
have-
we're going to kill them. Yeah.
And you keep track of your character in the real game on an index card, like I have here, just randomly. So
Fierce and
it's-
wounded.
yeah, you can fit your whole character on the back of the cards. There's nothing much to it. So
Well, I think that works for post game
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Let's just do some shout outs and be on our merry way, everyone. Sean, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sean. You can find me at Hyena Spots with a Z on Twitter. I just chat about various things that are going on. I'm here on Mondays. That's kind of my big thing. I don't do a lot of streaming otherwise, but I am currently working on some stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed, something will pop up soon.
How do I not know about this stuff? How do I not know about it?
Plans.
Yes.
Secrets.
Yeah, secret plans. No. Yeah, no, so I just I mean, it's nothing big. I'm just trying to figure things out right now. But
I'm just trolling you, I know.
I know you're mean. Everyone's making me
Meanest.
cry.
I'm not. We had a great conversation before the stream started.
But yeah, so that's me.
Your next catalyst. Hit us up.
Ah, see, now you're being mean. So, I'm Jacob, also known as Catalyst 7. You can catch me. Words are difficult. You can catch me on Twitter at Catalyst 7. Basically, I just chit chat about my life or things that are going on or other things of the like. If
Larp.
anyone wants to join me for games, I'm looking for good multiplayer games to play. So if you want to send me a message on Twitter and get me into whatever your, I want to say kink, but that's not right. Addiction.
Your
There we
sexy,
go.
sexy checkers
That's
league.
the word that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Shoot me a message there and I'll
I
jump
mean-
on whatever game.
I mean, I'll get you into my kink catalyst.
Babe, I've already been in your kink.
Really?
Okay, you two just look. It's
Oh,
PG.
yeah.
Okay?
No LARPing on this stream.
No larping on this screen.
Perverts.
Don't play League with me.
Hey, always play League with me, especially if I'm playing Ivern.
Okay, dude, enough of you. Just,
Hi.
Andrew.
I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Comedian Crow. And by way of my Twitter profile, you can find all my other internet stuff. And I do shows, and I'm designing my own game, which I'm actually going to be able to do this Friday. Resume working on it because I won't be in a car or hating my life at all. So you can tune in for that.
Always a good time.
Also, what has been very exciting is playing the Sprawl
Yes, so good.
channel. That has been very cool.
Are we gonna
And
have to have a
just
serious
fun stuff.
conversation in this upcoming game? I'm sorry, I just talked over you.
I'm doing fan art of my own game. That's how much I'm.
Really?
About. I mean, I already did it. You saw it.
Yeah, that's true. You did.
Surprise!
True, you did.
Andrew's a very talented artist.
I was wondering if there was anything else. I want to see all the
I'm
things.
working on one of Blue Jay's character next.
Nice.
So
I feel like QQ's gonna be mad at me.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
QQ is going to be mad at you. I'm sorry.
God, no.
And she's a murder robot, so watch out.
It's the good kind of mad. Anyway, I guess that's it. I'm me, and you can follow me here. It's really a thing. Also, the Roll20 stream and too many games. I've done too many games.
Yeah,
All
you're
the
in so many
games.
games right now.
I need to do less games, honestly.
But also, our plan here for this time slot is we're going to wrap up Fall of Magic and then
Back to
Maybe.
Blades? Or
play something else, or maybe play Blades.
We'll decide
yeah, we can find that out.
tomorrow, because I feel like we're gonna get through the game tomorrow. I mean, we're gonna get through not tomorrow. The
Next week.
Next week. We're
the
gonna
weekly
get
tomorrow.
we're gonna get through the game next week, and there'll be like a point in time where we can kind of decide what we want to do. And we'll decide then, and we'll do it then. I know that there's more Blades. Blades Season 2 could be a thing. Or we could play something completely different and just, like... Depends what Hyena wants to do a little bit, because, you know, they're kind of in the GM
He's the
seat.
poor sap that needs to run the thing.
Yeah. They're kind of in the...
Someone else can GM.
They're kind of in the...
Use my...
they're kind of in the GM seat. But we'll figure it out, and we will come at you in a week to let you know what's going on with the rest of this time slot.
Be here.
But I will continue
Or
to
you're
use
grounded.
This. Can you do that?
I can ground all your viewers. Yes, it's in my power.
Wow. All right, that's gonna be it for this week, everybody. Thank you for watching Fall of Magic.
Thanks,
and
everyone.
I will see you next week. Bye. Well, I'll see you sooner, but bye.
Blah.
What?